Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Let me just tell you that after watching all the news programs yesterday on Sunday, we were not happy. And I imagine all the folks who really want to ensure that the people that are driving the progressive message out there is on board could not be happy with some of the folks that we saw on TV. So today, first, let me just tell you what the program is going to be about. Then we're going to go ahead and get moving, but stay with me for a while. Let me tell you what we're going to do. Today's program is titled, Let's Dispel the Medicare for All Lies. Let's dispel the Medicare for All Lies. In other words, there are all lies out there. And, you know, for those of you who listen all the time and say, oh, you cover Medicare for All so often. Yes, I cover Medicare for All a lot. And I'm going to have to cover it more. Why? My God, folks, they are killing us. They want us. They're hammering us. There's so much. There's millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, a partnership for the health care of America. I mean, there are people that are out there just pushing it. And you know what is the worst part about it? Well, we're going to talk about the worst part about it. We're going to talk about the worst part about it. And I'm going to tell you, we are going to have to start talking about not taking any prisoners. We're going to have to get serious about this, and we're going to have to get active about this, and we're going to have to get engaged about this, and we're going to have to make sure that these guys don't get away with it. And for those who, well, let's go ahead and start the show. Anyhow, today's show's titled, Let's Dispel the Medicare for All Lies. The plutocracy is grasping. The plutocracy is grasping. They know that people are starting to understand. They know that we're starting to make a difference. And yes, they're grasping. We cannot allow the fallacies to go through. The plutocracy is in full attack mode on Medicare for All. Unfortunately, they have enlisted slaves from both parties. Notice what I said. They've enlisted slaves from both parties to do their dirty work. We will remember them. We must remember them. Medicare for All is getting hit from all sides, but we must not give in. Again, we must not give in. We are right. Estamos correctos. We are right. We are right. We have to take back what is ours. They are ripping us off. They've been ripping us off for decades. It is embarrassing to see people who know better continue to promote fear and lies about Medicare for All. To do so, they have to pray that Americans forget basic math. They are asking you to be dumb. They are asking you not to think. They're asking you to forget basic arithmetic. It does not take it doesn't take calculus. It does not take diff-EQ, differential equations. It does not take any advanced type of arithmetic, any advanced type of math to know that Medicare for All is better than anything they can come up with. And this is not a statement of maybe so and we have other options. This is an absolute statement based on what we're defining as Medicare for All. It's an absolute statement. It's a math problem. It is a mathematical problem. It is not something that is up for debate, right? They would like you to believe that all this stuff is really up for debate. My friends, this is not up for debate. This is math. And for those that are just coming in, bear with me a second as I just make sure that we have all the tallies right, because what I want to do is, sometimes you hear me repeat myself, and one person told me the other day, Egberto, when you're getting started, sometimes you start up and you wait a while and you don't come in all the while. And I said, well, you know what? I have to kind of wait till we bring the folks in, because I don't want there to be an issue, right? Where somebody comes in the middle, too far out or whatever, and don't get it. But anyhow, so here's the deal. It's a call-in show, 646-716-5812. Again, if you're on Blog Talk Radio and you're not seeing what's on the screen, the telephone number is 646-716-5812. I'll also be monitoring my Twitter feed. So if you just hashtag politics done right, if you hashtag any tweet that you send with politics done right, I will see that as well. And again, but I would love to hear some calls in. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. 646-716-5812. The sad thing, folks, is that the following. The sad thing is that the opposition isn't from one side. We knew to expect a fight from the right. We knew that. It is hard to fathom politicians on the left using the same talking points from the Heritage Foundation and other conservative think tanks to fight Medicare for all. We must not give in. We must not give in. Most importantly, we must hold those who are willful traitors to the American people accountable. I'm not mincing my words here. When I say these people are traitors, I mean it. They are traitors to the American people because, like I said, when it comes to Medicare for all, it is a math problem. It isn't something that you can say, well, maybe if we do X, Y, Z, things will be different. Medicare for all is a basic math problem. And anybody who knows math, math is absolute. So before we get started completely with Medicare for all, though, what I want to do is I want to play you something, because I'm going to get into Medicare for all. Yes, I am. But what I want to do, there's several things that sort of bugged me on the TV yesterday when we were watching the shows, right? And one of the things is there are several things that we're talking about, and we talk about the Electoral College is a big problem that we have to overcome. And there's a whole lot of notions out there that, oh, the Electoral College is necessary. And we're getting into Medicare for all, but I want to stamp out two items: Electoral College and idolization of Donald Trump. And then we'll immediately go into Medicare for all. But here's the deal. People have been led to believe that the Electoral College is something that we must have, right? And they don't understand the genesis of how it came about, etc., etc., etc. And what I want to do before we get into the complete program is hit you up on exactly what that is. And it was great because what happened with the Electoral College is recently Stacey Abrams appeared on TV, and she really hit it out of the park. And this is what she had to say. I want you to listen to this.
Been some calls to get rid of the Electoral College. There's been some controversy over this week. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez calling for it, the president emailing his supporters about how terrible an idea was. Do you favor that?
Absolutely. The Electoral College was not designed to make certain that people in small states weren't subject to the tyranny of urban areas. That wasn't the conversation at the time. It was because those in power did not believe that working people had the intellectual capacity to directly elect the leader of the free world. We have long passed that time, and it's time for direct election and popular vote.
So one of the problems that we're going to have with the way we promote these things is we have that pushback from the Electoral College, and in order for us to be able to do a lot of things in the long run, we're going to have to defeat the Electoral College either constitutionally or getting several states to come together and say we are going to have all our electors go to the popular vote. So there are two projects that are on hand. One is to change the Constitution. The other one is for several states that equate to 270 electoral votes to come together and say, whenever we will match the popular vote, whatever it is, whether somebody wins our state or not, whatever the popular vote says, all our electors will go to the popular vote. And we're getting closer. Oregon was the last one that did that. So I wanted to use this little space here to just kind of put something about the Electoral College in there, to put it as a seed in your mind so that later on You can, when you hear that discussion elsewhere, you don't have to believe the fallacies that you're going to hear on TV, like, oh, our founding fathers had some reason why the Electoral College was such a magical thing. No, what the Electoral College has allowed us to do over the last 20 years or so is quite a bit of evil. Think about it. We got a President Bush, which got us into the Iraq War, and we got a Donald Trump who's decimating the state. So what we have is a President Bush who got in with a minority vote, and he created havoc. And we have a Donald Trump who again came in with a minority vote, and he's creating havoc. So let's kind of get things together and think the right way. Now, secondly, I want you to see a little piece that I'm going to play on Chuck Todd. Okay, and the reason I want to do this one is Chuck Todd is, how should I put it? Something happened, interestingly, right? And it turned out that you got to, well, I think I explained it in the video, so let's go ahead and go there. Chuck Todd had Missouri Senator Roy Blunt on today. You know, this guy is supposed to be a strong guy, a strong senator with values, with moral values, etc. You know, so Chuck wanted to ask him a very basic question: do you think you can trust the president? I want you to listen to this. Watch the response from Blunt.
Before I go, should the American public take the president at his word when he speaks?
Well, the president communicates differently than anybody else who's
You've
ever
said
in
that before,
job.
but
and as a candidate, the American
but he's president of the
public,
United States, and when he issues we're politicizing the weather. I mean, is there anything left?
Well, I actually, you know, I've spent most of this month at home in Missouri, and I think this whole Sharpie thing is way being overplayed. I don't think it will matter election day. I don't think it matters to most people.
But
right
are you
now.
worried that the credibility of the words of the president of the United States has been eroded?
No.
Okay. Senator Roy Blunt, Republican from Missouri, member of leadership. Thanks for coming
Good
out,
to be
sharing
with
your
you.
views. Good to see you.
This is the short one. Did you see the resignation in Chuck Todd's face? Not only resignation, but a sense of embarrassment for the senator. And did you see the senator within those facial expressions? Look at Todd. You can feel it saying, Todd, you know this is what I have to say. I can't buck the president. I mean, it was all in the looks. My God, what has happened to the Republican Party? I tell you one thing that I have a question about. I wonder if the president, through whatever means he has a whole lot of dirt on all these senators that are so scared to buck him. One has to wonder, because no one accepts a president that is so vile unless that president holds some kind of power over them. And you can't tell me the power he has is because most of your electors or the people who would elect you love the president. Because the president, if the Republicans were to turn against him and really put him out for what he is, the people would turn against him as well. Okay, so that is about the end of the things that have nothing to do with Medicare for all. So what I want to do now, what I want to play you first of all is what Rahm Emanuel did yesterday. What I saw yesterday was the uniting. I saw yesterday the right and the left unite to attack Medicare for all. And this is one of those things where, folks, is dangerous because it puts in clear perspective that sort of what I've always talked about, the left rail and the right rail. The establishments, there's not two establishments. There's one establishment. And they all serve the same purpose. They all serve the same master. They all serve the same God, which is the God of the plutocracy. Check this out.
Healthcare is a single issue that Democrats have a 35-point advantage on. President Trump is trying to do everything he can to narrow that down. We've taken a position so far, and the candidates have, through the process, a few have not, on basically Medicare for all, which is we're going to eliminate 150 million people's health care, and we're going to provide health care for people that just come over the border. That is an untenable position for the general election. As you know, George, I just biked around Lake Michigan, nearly 1,000 miles, through Michigan and Wisconsin, two really important states. Nobody at a diner ran at me and said, take my health care away. Nobody. This is reckless as it relates to, and you don't have to take the position to win the primary, and you're basically literally hindering yourself for the general election.
I was in central Pennsylvania yesterday and walked into a diner to get something to eat, and a woman came up to me, Governor, please tell the president to tell these Democrats to leave my health care alone. Now, this was the only thing she said to me. Then she said thank you, and she walked away unsolicited. That part of Pennsylvania is going to be key to what's going to happen in Pennsylvania. And if the president holds that coalition and wins Pennsylvania, this election is over.
But did you respond and say, but the president wants to repeal your health care without a replacement? And
No, I
just
was
have a
ordering
plan to without a replacement?
I got to tell you the truth. I wasn't worried about that, but it tells you what's on people's minds.
The key point is exactly here, which is I can continue to believe the president's budget is the largest cut in Medicare ever by a president. And I don't understand. We'll talk about Medicare for all this coming debate down in Houston. Why nobody mentions the fact that the President of the United States has a Medicare cut for all. And that is his greatest vulnerability. And he pledged, and it's not just a health care issue, he pledged in 2016 he would never touch Medicare and Medicaid, and that's exactly what his budget has done.
Okay, now you can see that. Did you see what happened? Did you see what happened there? Give us a call, 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. I would love to hear from some of you, but let me kind of explain what went on out there. The Rahm Emanuel, and I want you to recall who Rahm Emanuel is. Rahm Emanuel was President Barack Obama's chief of staff. We have to remember, let's go back a bit to the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. Most of us wanted a single payer system then. We didn't get it. The reason we didn't get it so far is, we couldn't pass it. But here's the deal. I want us to stop blaming Republicans for everything. Because it wasn't Republicans' fault why we didn't get Medicare for all or single payer back in when was Obama? In 2008, 2009, actually 2009. It was Blue Dog Democrats. Okay? There was a point when we were actually going to even get the public option, which isn't the best thing, but we can talk about that later on, which allowed, if an insurance company didn't come into the market or didn't want to insure you, there was a public option that was there to insure you as well. But the Democrats balked at that as well. Blue Dog Democrats, they didn't want that either. Why didn't they want that? Their masters did not want that. Who are their masters other than the insurance companies? They didn't want that either. So they didn't go for the public option either. Now, we come down. We knew about all of the defects within the Medicaid, the Obamacare. We knew all the problems back in 2009, 2010. We understood what the problems would be because that is the reason we wanted Medicare for all. Because all the things that are going wrong right now, we could understand. We could understand that there's no way the average American citizen would be able to afford. I mean, you see, it looks good, right? Everybody got insurance and so forth, but you have a $6,000 deductible. You have a $10,000 deductible. There are a lot of people that are paying for the insurance and they simply can't use it, whether it's Obamacare or otherwise. They can't use it. Why? Because they can't afford the deductibles. Okay, so yes, they have, they can pay their copay and that sort of stuff, but they cannot afford to meet the deductibles. Anytime they go to the doctor, they're paying out of pocket. Remember, the reason the Democrats made Obamacare the way they made it is they were owned by whom? They were owned by the insurance companies who told them what they could do and what they couldn't do. And they followed and they obliged. They want to do the same thing over again. So now we come in. It is clear to most Americans now that that stuff, while it was better than the status quo, it definitely was not good enough. People are still going bankrupt. People are still going without the health care that they need. They still are going without the health care that they need. The only solution, the solution the rest of the world has seen, is for there to be the full Medicare for all that comes out of the general budget that we all pay for. Everybody who has a job pays. It's not, the Democrats want to give something for free. What they mean is the progressives want to give something for free. No, the progressives doesn't want to give anything for free. The progressives want everybody to pay their fair share for health care, just like we want everybody to pay their fair share for everything else. This is not about wanting free stuff. That is what they want to tag us with. We want free stuff. We do not want free stuff. We want health care that is paid for. We want health care that is affordable. And the deal about it right now is health care is really a cash cow for a lot of private companies who abuse us all, not only the consumer, but also abuse the government. And I've gone through many of this before, and I'd like to go through it with anybody who has any questions. You can call 646-716-5812. If you are of the belief that Medicare for all cannot work, if you are convinced by somebody that Medicare for all is something that is impossible for us to really run on, I'm saying no, we must run on Medicare for all, because we finally have to give folks a deterministic reason to vote for progressives and something that will work. And this will work. Now, 646-716-5812 if you'd like to discuss it. Before I go any further, let me run to the see what people are asking. Okay. Kathleen, hi, how are you doing, my dear friend Kathleen Morgan? Masticator says, you don't even understand the 3/5 compromise, and now you're going to lecture us on the Constitution. Sir, I'm very well versed in the 3/5 amendment, okay? The 3/5 compromise. Absolutely. Come on. You see who I am. I know what it is. Unless you change the Constitution by amendment process, you will face violence. Look, I am not at all concerned about those who are talking about violence, because that is the reason why we have the police, and that is the reason why we have the National Guard or whatever. So all those guys that want to sit back there with their AK-47 and think they're going to start a war, if we start doing the right things for people, because they so much care about the Constitution. They care about the Constitution selectively. Most of you guys who claim to love the Constitution selectively. You don't love the Constitution when it does anything that you think it isn't supposed to do. Well, let me tell you, first of all, and to some extent I'm with you. I'm not a fanatic of the Constitution, and I've already told you that. The Constitution is a very flawed document that everybody like to pass off as being such a good document. The Constitution is one of the most flawed documents ever. Women couldn't vote. Black people couldn't vote. When they allowed black people to vote, women still couldn't vote. To vote, you had to own land. I mean, there's a whole lot of problems with the Constitution. So please, my dear friend Masticator, don't ever make the case that I don't understand the Constitution. What I won't ever do is worship the Constitution as somehow something put from by divine intervention. No, it was not. The Constitution was made by flawed men who wanted to maintain their power. Okay? And that's the reason why the president wasn't elected popularly either. That is the reason senators weren't elected popularly. They wanted to maintain their power. So please don't give me that. I understand it very well. In fact, I'm from Central America, Panama, and most of us from Central America had to learn a whole lot more about the Constitution, a whole lot more about America than most Americans had to learn, because we had to pass a test to be Americans. So please, my dear brother Masticator, don't ever believe I do not know what I'm talking about when it comes to the Constitution, when it comes about America, because I had to learn it, not only coming to the United States, but something that a lot of Americans don't realize is that we learn, while you don't learn about Panama, while you don't learn about Costa Rica, while you don't learn about all these other things, let me tell you what happens. It turns out, okay, no, you are absolutely wrong about that, Masticator. Good, then, 3/5 compromise was positive for Southern blacks. It reduced the power of the South. Oh, wow, that is a spin that you put on it. No, it was not good. What it did is it gave power to the South, because the North didn't want to count black people at all, because black people weren't human beings. They were actually property. So as the North says, why the hell would we count black people who can't vote when we're counting how many people are in your state? Do you count your chair? Do you count your horse? Do you count your washing machine? Well, you didn't have washing machines. Do you count your cotton gin? Well, there weren't cotton gins either. Do you count those things? No. Black people were, sir, property. So no, it actually gave more power to the South, because it says property now was counted as human. Of course we're human, but hey, since constitutionally we're just property. So please, my friend, do not buy into the crap you hear on right-wing TV or right-wing radio. Oh, it reduced the power of the South. No, it increased the power of the South, because they should not have counted black people at all, given that black people could not vote. It's clear you are ignorant. That's what you're telling me? I just gave an explanation, and I'm ignorant. I gave you the accurate explanation, and I'm ignorant. That's fine, my brother. It's okay. All right, Michael Davis. Thank you very much for the kudos, Michael Davis. Betty Hall says, hey, from Memphis, Tennessee, Medicare for all. Let me tell you something, Betty. Yes, Medicare for all, but we have to play. We cannot sit back. We have a multi-front war for Medicare for all. Let me tell you, the war is going to be a multi-front war, because we're not only fighting the folks on the right. We're not only fighting the establishment. We're also fighting the plutocracy. We're fighting Democrats. When you have Michael Bennett out there, when you hear Michael Bennett out there, you start to see, wait a minute, Michael Bennett is a Democrat, a progressive Democrat, stating that 180 million people are going to be left without insurance. You see, that is what they're putting out there. Let me hold back a second. Masticator has another message for me. Masticator thinks, oh my God, you are so ignorant and full of hate and propaganda. Mr. Masticator, hate and propaganda. I would love you to articulate what piece of propaganda I have stated, and I'd like you to articulate who have I hated upon. That's all I want. You just make two statements. I'm full of hate, and I hated on someone. Please tell me who I've hated and what piece of what I've said is propaganda. It's easy to just shoot words out, but give specifics. And if I have shown hate, I am sufficiently humble to ask you or to apologize to you if there's some hate I've shown to anyone, or if something that I said was propaganda other than fact. So you give me the specifics, and if I need to apologize, I surely will. I promise you that. So please, my dear brother, let me know specifically what hateful words I've said and what hate I've promoted, and I'll be more than happy to do so. Okay. Betty Bell, I know we have a war. We are fighting everyone and everything. Betty Bell also says, sad, so much hate and ignorance out there. You know what, though? Ignorance is not look, when we find ignorance, and because I am ignorant of much as well, right? We all have some level of ignorance. So my thing is, when I find that I'm ignorant about something and I learn something new, I put it out there. And not only that, I make everybody know, oh, well, that was not the way I thought it was. And there's a reason for doing that. And that is, if all of us were to display that kind of a humility, what happens then is it sort of breeds on itself. So that is what I've adapted as a radio show host, etc., so that I can, first of all, I want folks to be able to come and tell me, hey, I don't agree with you with that because of XYZ. I want to know that. And then we can actually then debate about it, talk about it, etc. But just to come and say, I'm full of hate and putting out propaganda, I want to know specifically what hateful thing I did and specifically what propaganda I'm putting out there, because everything that I speak so far has been complete facts. So anyhow, let's go back to Rahm Emanuel and what they're doing. Bennett came out and he said 180 million Americans are going to lose their insurance because Medicare for all is going to kill private insurance. False. entirely false. Let's explain. First of all, I would love, personally, if I were writing policies, I would make insurance in the health industry illegal. Because as far as I'm concerned, it is legalized theft. Okay? So I would make it illegal for things that are necessary. And now if you want to go, let me put it this way. I shouldn't say I would make it illegal. I would make it that everybody has to have regular insurance, okay, that covers them all. But folks who go ahead and buy something on the outside, completely unregulated, do as you please. If you want to trust the private, if you think the private sector insurance is going to protect you for anything, go for it. Take regulations off completely, because we know we have good health care for absolutely everybody in the country. So if you want to go and waste your money with a private company that's sole purpose is to deny coverage and take your money, please feel free. Michael Davis says, I wonder how abolition of billionaires and vast inequity will affect need for borders and need for discussing legality of people. That's true, huh? I would love to hear I would love for you to answer your own question. That would be an interesting thing. I have some ideas. May Wood, welcome aboard from Long Beach, Florida. Welcome aboard. Michael Davis says, we invaded land that these people migrated around during various climatic changes and put down imaginary lines. You know, you're very smart. You know, I mean, whenever I hear people get so strong about immigration and keeping people out and all that kind of stuff, I always wonder, where did that passion for wanting to be so, if you want to talk about what's hateful, Mr. Masticator, it's the way we treat people who would love to come over here or would love to be a part of us. That is what's hateful, especially given the genesis of how we came to be. That is what's hateful. So let's, we always have to wonder and be careful of how we do things, but we're talking Medicare for all. So let's continue talking Medicare for all. I wish I had some calls with people who also wanted some very specific questions answered about Medicare for all. So what I'll do is I'll continue speaking about what these guys are doing. There is a company out, there's a company that was formed, a nonprofit that was formed. It's the Partnership for America's Health Care, okay? And their goal is to convince Americans that Medicare for all is bad, that there are going to be wait times, that there are going to be doctors telling you what you can do and bureaucrats telling you what you can do, etc. And when I hear them talk about what they intend to do, my question to them is always the same. Do they really think Americans are that stupid? All of you have insurance. Those of you who don't have government insurance, and this is the ironic part, right? There are people who have many forms of insurance here. There's Medicaid, there's Medicare, there's private health share given by your company, there's HMOs, PPOs, all that good stuff. Here is the kicker, people, because we have a bit of all of it right now. We have government health care, we have private health care, and all these different types of health care. And interestingly, the people who can go see any doctor they want to see are the ones on Medicare, the ones run by the government. Even Medicare Advantage, the part of Medicare that's run by private companies, they tell you what doctors you can see. They make it look like all-encompassing, right? One price. You come and you get Medicare Advantage, and you're happy. We give you a gym membership, and we do that. But what they do is, it surprises me that, the private part of Medicare for all, a lot of conservatives like that, right? Oh, because, they get the gym program, they don't have to pay a penny and all that kind of stuff. It's all-encompassing. But here is the difference. They tell you what doctor you can see. They tell you what drugs you're allowed. They tell you how many times you can see a doctor for a particular thing. In other words, you've lost your freedom. And what is it that the Tea Party folks always talk about? Don't tread on me. Isn't that what they always say? So here, now for those of you who now work for a company and you have private insurance, The first thing you do when you go to a doctor is you find out, do you take my insurance? Yes or no? Okay, yes. So therefore, the insurance company is choosing your doctors for you. If you have to go into a doctor's office and ask, do you take this insurance? That means the insurance company is choosing your doctor. Okay, and then the doctor that you just go to see tells you, let me think. You need to get this service done. So you go ahead and say, okay, let's call your insurance company to see if hello, Reynard Blake from Peace from Lansing, Michigan. Let's go ahead and see if your insurance will allow you to use this doctor. Okay, who's choosing your doctor again? We have been taught, and the Powell Manifesto did a very good job of this, right? They've taught you not to think. They've taught you just to listen to what the advertising is telling you. They've taught you to think what the think tank is telling you. They have taught you to think not objectively, not what you're seeing. In other words, you ever heard that thing that says, don't believe what your blind eyes, or don't believe what your lying eyes are telling you? Well, believe your eyes, believe your ears, believe how things operate. The private sector could never be more efficient than the public sector in healthcare. It is an impossibility, because the only reason for their existence is to make a profit for the shareholders who do absolutely nothing other than invest their capital. And why do they invest their capital? Because they figure you are a commodity that they can exploit. You are a commodity that they can exploit. Remember that. All people, what health insurance companies do is profit off your sickness. If this is now run by a single payer system, a government, you are no longer have to be concerned about, well, are they telling me no because they don't want to spend the money, or are they telling me no because it's the wrong thing that the doctor wanted to do? Folks, we need, in this debate, as we move on to Medicare for All, the first thing we have to understand is any politician speaking negatively about Medicare for All is a stooge to the plutocracy, is a slave to the plutocracy, is owned by the plutocracy. Any politician coming out against Medicare for All must not be believed for anything, because they're saying they will sell their soul. They're telling you that if they would kill you to stay in power. They will kill you to stay in power. Any politician, I repeat, and I want you can cut this out. You can cut this snippet out. Any politician that does not support Medicare for All does not support you. Again, any politician, please people, remember this. This is so important. I need you to make this a part of your heart. I need this to make you a part of your soul. There is no now, if you have a friend that says, oh, Medicare for All, there's going to be wait times and all of that, be empathetic with that friend. And the reason why you must be empathetic with that friend is that friend would have been taught from the plutocracy. That friend would have been taught by politicians like, oh, somehow if we have to add up all these things together, somehow they want you to forget math. In other words, let me tell you this. Private insurance has to pay the following: advertising cost to store your data, computer system, engineering analysts, executives, the presidents, vice presidents, administrators. They have to pay a dividend to their shareholders. They have to pay. They have to make a profit for continued operations. They have to pay all those things. If you have Medicare for All, you don't have 100 different presidents to pay millions of dollars to. You don't have 100 million administrators. You don't have 100 databases that you have to manage. You don't have 100 different budgets for advertising. All of that is gone. Not only that, Doctors' offices no longer have to call different insurance companies to see if you're covered. When it's time for the doctor to get paid, they don't have to call different insurance companies and say, send me my money, send me my money. They don't have to do that anymore. So it's so efficient because there's one person paying the bill, right? And of course, if you have one person paying the bill, it's also easier to catch fraud, right? Because if you're using a whole lot of different doctors to get a whole lot of pills from different places that all get paid, all of that's gone. It's one system. The lies that they want you to believe, the lies that they want you to believe, is pathetic. Now, like I said, a lot of people think because it appears on TV and because it is in the center, that somehow it is right. It is your job. Those of you who are listening to me, I always tell people, if you're listening to me, corroborate what I'm saying if you don't want to take it at face value. I promise you this, the truth only, nothing more, the truth. I do my research. I do this 16 hours a day. 16 hours a day. I'm researching, writing, video, processing, all of that for the cause, for the progressive cause. That's what I do all day. 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, 5 days a week, 12 hours a day sometimes on the weekends if I can get a chance to do something else. That's it. That's all I do. Look for these guys lying to you. Trying to find out when they're on TV lying to you and then coming out here and saying they're lying to you. Please do not believe it. Not because they have a smile, have a suit on, and wear a tie. When Chris Christie sat down next to Rahm Emanuel, and Rahm Emanuel had a story and Chris Christie had a story. And those two stories, one from the right, one from the left, is to coalesce and tell people, please believe us, you don't want Medicare for all. Let me tell you, Chris Christie, I went into a diner in Pennsylvania. Whoa, it's in Pennsylvania. I wonder why Pennsylvania. And the first thing the woman asked me was, please tell the president to tell them Democrats to leave my health care alone. And then Rahm Emanuel, I'm riding around on a 1,000-mile bike ride in Wisconsin and Michigan. Oh, why is it Wisconsin and Michigan again? Right? You see, the psychology that they're playing there is like, hey, don't support Medicare for all because the states that we must win, that we lost, but we have to win the presidency, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. If you go Medicare for all, we're going to lose those again. And if we lose those again, we lose the election. It's a psychological game they're playing on you. Why aren't they saying, let's tell Americans the truth? Americans are not stupid. Let's tell Americans the truth. Let's go into Michigan. Let's go into the Ozarks. Let's go into Pittsburgh. Let's go into Madison. Well, we don't need to go. Madison is already the way it should be. Let's go into all these other places and let's teach them. Let's tell them about, let's tell them about where the costs are in healthcare. Let's let them know. Let's teach them. Let's not just let some think tank, but you know why they don't want to teach them? Because they're on the hook. They're slaves to the corporatocracy. Rahm Emanuel, who do you think is paying Rahm Emanuel? Chris Christie, who do you think is paying Chris Christie? Michael Bennett, who do you think is paying Michael Bennett? You see? That is what we're talking about. It's going to be on us now. It's on us. If we allow ourselves to believe the crap that they're telling us because it's coming from Rahm Emanuel, the guy who formerly worked for Barack Obama, if we allow that to fester, if we allow our friends and our families to believe that as opposed to hitting them immediately, no, it's not true. It doesn't make mathematical sense that somehow private health insurance can be cheaper than single payer insurance, Medicare for all. It's an impossibility. Even if first of all, the study that was done by the Koch brothers, think about this. The Koch brothers did a study. They gave it to the university. I don't remember the name of the university to do the study. Everybody covered by Medicare for all, still cheaper than the current system that they're talking about, still cheaper, and covers 30 to 50 million people more than that system. That is how sad it is for these, what I call political criminals, to go out there and try to tell you not to support Medicare for all. Folks, the Democrat that gets elected must support Medicare for all. the Democrat that gets through the primaries must support Medicare for all. We've had it. We should be tired of enriching a few based on our sickness. It is immoral, and what those politicians are doing is not only immoral, it is evil, because they know better. These are not dumb people. And that is why I don't hold the regular average American citizen, I don't hold them to task. Why? Why should we hold them to task? We've been taught to, if something comes on TV by people with a nice suit and that are fairly educated, to believe them. Well, notice my attire is not a suit on purpose. Because what I've found in our capitalist system today, in the form of capitalism that we preach, most of the lies, most of the things that hurt you come from somebody who's wearing a suit and a tie. They're the ones who crashed our economic system. They're the ones who cause you to go bankrupt. They're the ones who put in your head that you need opioids. They're the ones who tell you that even though they know that opioids was going to kill a whole lot of people throughout this country, they're the ones in the three-piece suit told you, oh, things are going to be okay. They're the ones who told you that. That is the reason you don't see me with a tie and a suit on as a journalist on my show on this news. It's about being not like the folks who hurt you. I want folks to start not looking. One of the reasons that I take the stance that I am, the laissez-faire method in the way we do journalism here, the abject advocacy type journalism that we do here, is because of what the guys in the suit are doing. I want it to be different. The guys in the suit, you turn on ABC, it's a suit. It's a suit that is lying to you. It's a suit that is telling you a made-up story. It is a suit and a tie that is telling you, oh, it looks this way. And we have been programmed in our heads to believe if it comes in a suit and a tie and of the right hue, that somehow we're being told the truth. Well, it wasn't anybody that looked like me with a shirt on that was a marketing genius behind those who made billions from selling opioids. It wasn't folks like us, all of us that are here in this family together, that were the ones that created all these different investment structures that they sold to people that crashed the economy where many lost everything. But remember, those folks with the suits, they maintained their wealth and they started it all over again. It wasn't folks like us who went ahead and told the president we needed yet another tax cut. A tax cut that went to a few. And not only that, even those who got the little bit of tax cut that they got, the government found another way to take the money back, called tariffs. So while some people may have gotten $20 a week, what is it, about $1,000 a year or so, they took it right back by charging you another $1,000 in a tariff every year. The tariffs right now is going to cost every American citizen about $1,000. So the little guy who got his tax cut is paying it right back because we have tariffs. It's paying it right back because our healthcare costs went up. It's paying it right back because everything that we not may want to have, but everything went up to take it back. I want you guys to understand that. You know, people, oh, I got my tax cut. But what happened afterwards? Man, an educated population is one that can't be fooled. And right now we still can be fooled. But you, the ones that are listening to me right now, you actually are the persons that can go out there and make a difference. We all are making a difference. The thing about this type of media is we can share, which is what I always ask you to do with our programs. Please share it. Make other people see it. Share. Let them see that there is reality out there. that we are, folks, telling the truth, and that our truth, you just have to look it up and figure out. I mean, first of all, the folks that are lying to you won't tell you that I'm lying. They won't tell you that I'm lying. They would just tell you, well, look at it a bit differently. That's all they would say. Look at it a bit differently. If you really, really want to make a difference, brothers and sisters, what we got to do, it's not somebody special that is going to do it for us. We are going to win this thing on a grassroots basis by ourselves. We're going to look at those progressives that are running those purported progressives, and we are going to give them that litmus test. Do you support Medicare for all? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, you're still in the team. If your answer is no, forget about it. So therefore, Bennett out. Delaney out. Every single progressive running that says they're not for Medicare for all, out. Any politician not supporting Medicare for all, overtly, out. What we should be doing is in each one of our districts, in every district that we're in, doing exactly what I'm doing. Just telling it like it is. Telling people like it is, one at a time, person to person. Geometric progression works. Let me tell you what I mean by that. You have 5 friends. You convince 5 friends that trust you. Convince 5 friends that trust you about the facts of the matter and get them convinced. What happened is everybody wants things to happen like this. I don't want things to happen like that because that never sticks. I don't want things to happen like that. I want to have a conversation where I am queried, where all the things you ask me, well, what about this? What about that? So that when you are convinced, you are learned and convinced. And then you can do the same with others. You do it with 5. Let me show you this. The natural geometric progression. Let's just do it with 2. Let's say you had 2 friends. The first level, you teach 2 friends. That's 2 people who are now enlightened. That means 3. Your 2 friends each teach 2. Guess what? Now we're talking about 4, 6, 7. Each of them teach you. By the time you reach to level 16, meaning 16 people, depth of 16, you've already taught 64,000. And you go up from there. If each of them just had 2 friends, but we don't have just 2 friends. We have 5, 6, 10 friends. If we are able to do that in the span by now and the primaries, we would have educated so many people that it would be impossible for somebody who does not support Medicare for all to win. But we have to do it. We can't ask or sit down and think, well, he has a program that's doing it. No, I reach some people. Today I'm going to reach about 2,500 people. If each of those 2,500 people would educate 2 people, and 2 more, and each of those 2 people, just think how fast we get there. Just think how fast. But we've been taught that we don't have power. We've been taught that we don't matter. But we do. We do. You have to first believe it. You have to first believe it. But it's not only about believing it. You have to actually see how. Because I can say, well, I am the best tennis player in the world because I feel it. I'm going to speak it. Don't mean a damn thing. I can't play tennis. So even if I feel it, believe it, or whatever, it don't mean a damn thing. I can't do it. So you have to see the path, the realistic path. So my realistic path to Medicare for all is something you can all do, is something that's realistic. And what is that realism? You can speak to 5 people who trust you and who you have the ability to convince with data. And you can then convince them to do the same thing. And convince them to do the same thing. Folks, if we just start to do the work, democracy requires our involvement. I have a phrase that I've been using for decades on my website, and that was citizenship, political, what is it? I used to say political involvement should be a requirement for citizenship. And I really meant that, right? You know, I came over from Central America. Why? Come to the land of the free, a place that you can do anything. Find out that I had a whole lot of push to go ahead and do a whole lot. And as my push is increasing, as we are getting to push, we're seeing institutions trying to dumbify Americans. We see institutions trying to tell you, don't think. We see institutions trying to tell you, believe fallacies. We see institutions designed specifically to mislead you. I never believed that's what America was. And I don't think that's what America needs to be. We can change that. You have the power to do that. We're coming down to the end of the show, the end of the program. The first thing I want to do is thank you all. I want to thank you all for being with me. I could not do this without you. We need you to go out there and preach the word. We need you to go out there and make a difference. It's going to be something done by us all. It's not going to be one person. It's going to be all of us. Now, I do want to ask you to support this program. Please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright and please become a subscriber. We need subscribers to keep this going. And I'm going to make this quick and sweet. Patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Please subscribe to our program. You can also subscribe or present us with contributions at politicsdoneright.com. I thank you so kindly. I want to thank you so kindly for being a part of the program today. I ask you that you share this. I ask you that you and help people see the truth. Help people. Don't put anybody down in the process. Just help folks move along. Let's do it together. We can do it. Raynard Blake, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Egberto, but there are so many people that don't believe in facts. You're right. And that's why I said the people that you're around that trust you or that have the potential of trust in you. I've turned around many very Republican people in my neighborhood. They won't come out to their friends and say, oh, I've seen the light. They won't ever do anything like that, nor do we want them to. What we want for them to do is when they go into the confines of their voting booth, that they vote accordingly. What we want is that for them not to be a hindrance to the movement. In other words, sometimes some people just have to be quiet. Some people with their quiet, with their silence, it's great. Because in the past they would not have been silent. So folks, I thank you so kindly for being here with me today. We have the power to make the change. Let's do it. Nobody's stopping us. Let's do it. My name is Egberto Willies, and you know how I'm going to end this baby. This is Politics Done Right, and I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.